Okay, everybody, we are live on the Graceworks Church Facebook page. I accidentally just went live on my own Facebook page, and so now I am Facebook Live here on the Graceworks Church Facebook page, and I'm going to go share this to my page. I just accidentally got started out of reflex, hit live on my own page, so I'm finding this on the Graceworks Church Facebook page right now. And then I'm going to share it to my page. So if you guys are joining, hey, Tim, as you guys are joining, make sure that you share this out so others can watch this as well. Everybody who's watching, Chip, hey, Chip, good to see you, man. Right post, and I'm going to hit the post button here. And share it to my page. Okay, now it's shared out to my page. So hit the share button, guys. We are live. Oh, hey. There's some, I won't even say who's over here right now. Hold that for 1 second, because I'm going to get this straggler stranger in the door of the church real quick. Don't move. Oh, never mind. There's somebody letting her in right now, so. It's good to see you. I should bring you on camera. I won't say who you are. We've got a mystery guest over here. I'm not saying who it is. Audrey, good to see you, Audrey. So, hey, I'm sorry I'm a little bit late with the Facebook Live. I went live on my page on accident instead of the church Facebook page, so I had to stop it and move on over here. So I apologize. Yes, good morning, Audrey. I'm going to do, of course, I'm going to do a little bit of trivia stuff here just to kind of get people engaged a little bit. So hit the share button. Please hit the share button. When you share it, more people will see it. I thought I would get outside today, even though it's a little bit kind of gloomy looking outside. It's always good to see the cross in the background. And man, I hear the traffic behind me right now on 153 and the interstate. I'm right here at that intersection. And everybody's already traveling for Thanksgiving. I've heard the airports are slamming busy. So the hustle and bustle has started, and it's good to see people out and moving around with everything that's been going on. With the obviously the coronavirus stuff and everything else. With the coronavirus stuff and everything else that's been going on. It's just nice to see people out and moving around, and so I hope all of you guys have a wonderful Thanksgiving. But we're going to go ahead and get started here. I have very few viewers right now, and I need more people because I'm going to need your help, because I'm going to start out with a couple of trivia questions, because as you might know, Advent is coming up. The season of Advent is coming up, so I thought I'd ask some Advent trivia questions to kind of get everybody engaged. So get that Advent thing mind going, or get your look at your phone and ask Google some of the questions here. I'm going to start out with a pretty easy one. I actually would not have known this, but believe it or not, because I didn't know a lot about the Advent season growing up. Of course, I knew about Christmas and Jesus Christ and everything else, but I never really did the Advent thing. So, question number one, trivia. How many Sundays are in Advent? How many Sundays are in Advent? What do you think? How many Sundays are in Advent? The Advent season. How many Sundays are in there? Does anybody know the answer to that? I know that it lags a little bit sometimes, so you may have to take just a minute. Hey, Alan, good to see you. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, Esther Jeffries. How many Sundays are there in Advent? How many Sundays are there in Advent? Anybody have an answer? Audrey says 4. Audrey, you are correct. Thank you so much. I know all the pressures on just the few of us that are watching right now to get the answers right. There are 4 Sundays in Advent. Now, question number 2, how do we determine the first Sunday of Advent? This is, yes, Chip, thank you so much. Esther, 4, yes, thank you so much. How do we determine, this is question number 2, how do we determine what is the first Sunday of Advent? I mean, do we determine it by a date? Do we determine, how do we determine what is the first Sunday of Advent? This is something that I would not have known until a couple of years ago, because even though I've heard of Advent, I don't have the Advent calendar and all that type of stuff. But we know that there are 4 Sundays in the Advent season. But how do we determine the first Sunday of Advent? Does anybody know the answer to that question? How we determine which is the first Sunday of Advent? By the way, guys, hit the share button. If you hit the share button, more people will see this at least later on. I hope you're enjoying the view here that we have. It's a little chilly out, but not too bad. It's not raining yet, so I hope you're able to enjoy this view a little bit. How do we determine the first Sunday of Advent? Anybody? I know that's kind of a hard one to first Sunday of Advent after Thanksgiving. That's actually a good guess, Chip. I'm wondering. You've got me second guessing myself now. I would be curious because there could be a couple of ways that you could determine the first Sunday of Advent. I would love to go and see how many times that lines up, that the first Sunday after Thanksgiving, if that would be an Advent Sunday. That would be very interesting to find out. But the way that we determine the first Sunday of Advent is actually the fourth Sunday before Christmas. So the fourth Sunday before Christmas this year is going to be this coming Sunday, which is November the 30th. So what do we have? Is that the 30th or is that the 29th? But anyways, the fourth Sunday before Christmas. There will be 4 Sundays and then Christmas. So that's how we determine that it's the fourth Sunday before Christmas, and we have 4 Advent Sundays. So question number 3, kind of going along the same lines, traditionally. Now, there's not an absolute perfect answer for this question because Advent is celebrated different ways with different churches, different denominations, and different things. But traditionally, how many candles are lit in the Advent wreath during the Advent season? How many candles are lit during the Advent in the Advent wreath? Excuse me, during the Advent season. Does anybody have a guess at that? And once again, there's not a perfect answer to this question because some places do it different than others. But traditionally, how many candles are lit in the Advent wreath during the Advent season? Chip says 5. That is one of the answers I was looking for. There is another acceptable answer. Chip says 5. Esther says 5. And that's how we do it at Graceworks, by the way. Cynthia says 5. Alan says 12. 12 is one of those biblical numbers. You never know that. Well, the answer is, I would take the answer 4 or 5. Traditionally, what we do is every. Let me move to the next question, and then I will explain this a little bit. The answer, if you gave the answer 4 or 5, those are the acceptable answers for traditionally how many candles are lit in the Advent wreath during the Advent season. By the way, guys, hit that share button. If you have not had a chance to hit the share button yet, go on there and wait. Share so other people can watch this. Let me go to the next question, then I'll explain a little bit. Question number 4 of our trivia here. If there is a 5th candle, what is that candle called, and when is it lit? The 5th candle, what is that candle called, and when is it lit? If a lot of places only do the 4 candles, but actually probably more people do the 5th candle, and you can answer either one of those questions. If there is a 5th candle, what is the candle called? It has a name, and it actually has different names. All these candles sometimes have different names. When you're lighting stuff, they have different meanings and different things. Like I say, not everything is always the same. Everybody doesn't do Advent the same way. But I'll tell you this, at Graceworks, if there's a 5th candle, and there is a 5th candle at Graceworks, what is that candle called? And when is that candle lit? Once again, there is no absolute perfect answer to this, but what say you? You can tell me when you think it's lit, and you can also give a guess at what we call that candle, or you may know. Chip Liner says Christ candle on Christmas Day. Audrey says Christ candle lit Christmas Eve, and both of you are correct. Christ candle is what we call it here at Graceworks Church. I know that some people have different names for the different candles, but we call it the Christ candle, and we light it here at Graceworks Church on Christmas Eve, but Traditionally, it can be lit on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day if you do the Christ candle. And some people don't do the Christ candle; they just do the 4 Advent candles each Advent candle. But I think most people do the Christ candle as well. And once again, the different candles have different names, and it's Advent. Which kind of brings me, that's kind of the trivia part, none of it. And this Sunday is Advent Sunday, and we will be celebrating, beginning our Advent season here at Graceworks Church. So it brings me to the question, what is Advent? Because when I grew up, I didn't grow up celebrating Advent, or I know a lot of people have Advent calendars and everything else. Well, let me read you the definition per Google or Wikipedia of what Advent is. Advent is a season of the liturgical year observed in most Christian denominations as a time of expectant waiting and preparation for both the celebration of the nativity of Christ at Christmas and the return of Christ and the second coming. Okay, that was wordy to me when I read that. So it says, here, let me read it one more time real quick. Advent is a season of the liturgical year observed in most Christian denominations. Well, let me stop right there. I hear the word liturgical and I'm lost. Advent is a season of the liturgical year observed in most Christian denominations. Well, what does liturgical mean? Liturgical, if you look up the definition, it says relating to liturgy or public worship. Well, what is liturgy? Liturgy, pretty much you're talking about a ritual or a ceremony or an observance. So you could say Advent is a season of, or an a religious observance or observance ceremony. Instead of using the word liturgical year, it's a season or a ceremony where Christian denominations where we celebrate a time of the expectant waiting and preparation for both the celebration of the nativity of Christ at Christmas and the return of Christ at the second coming. So you hear the word nativity. For somebody like me, I have to dumb it down a little bit and go, the nativity of Christ. What does nativity mean? If you go and you look up the definition of nativity, you always hear about the nativity scenes, and I always think about, the manger and all this type of stuff, and the animals around the manger and all these type of things. Well, nativity, if you look up the definition, is the occasion of a person's birth. So there was a nativity of Michael Prettyman at some point. There was a nativity of Audrey Talent at some point. There was a nativity of Chip Liner. There was a nativity of Jeannie Campbell, but the nativity of Christ, the birth of Christ. And it's not only the Christmas season, and that's one thing about Advent. It's celebrating the Christmas season, but it's also looking forward to the return of Christ and the second coming of Christ. So that's what Advent is. It's us kind of preparing, remembering, getting ready to celebrate. We're 4 Sundays out. For 4 Sundays we will celebrate and start remembering about the birth of Christ, and also not just the birth of Christ, but the return of Christ in the second coming. So let me just say that the Advent season is kind of a broad, can be a broad thing, because there are a lot of different religions and Christian denominations that do it differently. So not everybody does it exactly the same, but the main thing is celebrating the birth of Christ, the nativity of Christ, and also remembering the second coming and preparing for the second coming of Christ. So there you go. There you have it. So, hey, I'm going to close this out here with a couple of quick announcements. Just so you know, obviously, the church office is going to be closed tomorrow, Thursday, for Thanksgiving. And just so you know, we will not have a newsletter this week. There will be no newsletter going out this week. So if you're looking for a newsletter in your inbox, you won't find one. Just wanted to give you guys a heads up about that. And I want to encourage you, if you can, if you are able, we would love to see you here at church on Sunday morning, the first Sunday of Advent at 9 a.m. or 10:30 a.m. And both of those services will be Facebook Live. And let me encourage you, just be personally responsible. There's a lot of, we are in flu and virus season right now, and it is going wide open. I know strep throat is going all through the schools, and of course, coronavirus is out there just like it is every year, and the flu and everything else. So, but right now, this is when flu season hits every year, and this year is no exception. The only exception is it gets a lot more coverage this year. but there are a lot of people who have been sick, and there is stuff going around. So just be personally responsible. If you're feeling sick and you don't feel up to being at church, stay home, turn us on Facebook Live, watch us on Facebook Live. But we would love to see you here at church if you can make it and you feel healthy and you feel good. We would love to see you here this first Sunday of Advent, 9 a.m. or 10:30 a.m. And let me put a plug in for that 9 a.m. service. A lot of people have come and said, I've heard the 9 a.m. service is more packed than the 10:30. We actually have more room in the 9 a.m. service than we do the 10:30 a.m. service. So if you want to spread out and you want to be here, and we want you to be here, but if you want to be here on Sunday morning, 9 a.m. is the service to be here, where you can be here and you can socially distance and spread out, but you can actually be here in person and feel good and safe about it. So 9 a.m. Sunday morning or 10:30 a.m. And you can also catch us on Facebook Live if you feel like you have the sniffles, or if you ate too much turkey. I'm going to be here anyway, even though I plan on eating way too much food. I'm planning on being here. I've already started out with a bunch of pecans that Jackie Whitlock gave me. I've already overeaten on some of those pecans, but they're awesome. But just be personally responsible. Be here. I will tell you this: between services, after the services, after everything we do here, we go through when we sanitize. We have a sanitizing spray that we spray with everything. So we do our best to do our part in helping people stay healthy. We even have some masks here if you want to wear a mask when you come in on Sunday morning, if you feel like that is something that may help be preventative. We have some here, or you can bring your own mask. We have hand sanitizers around and everything else. So anyway, I just want to see you guys here. I love seeing you online too. I love looking online and seeing all the people joining, the people commenting, and everybody sharing. So anyway, I'm going to shut my mouth here, get going, let you guys get on the road, start making all your dressing, stuffing the turkey, doing all that type of stuff. But I hope to see you on Sunday morning, either on Facebook Live or in person, 9 a.m. or 10:30 a.m. And I'm going to close out with a word of prayer, and we'll get going here. God, I thank you that we can come here today and just learn a little bit more about this a tradition of men, the Advent. But God, it's all about the expecting, celebrating Jesus' birth, and also the expectant return, the second return of Jesus Christ. So God, we just thank you for this Advent season, and God, as we celebrate this and we go through these traditions, God, I pray that you're honored, that you're glorified, and that you're lifted up in it, and I pray that you just give us a good day. Be with everybody who's going to be traveling through the Thanksgiving season, and give them traveling safety. I pray that they would just enjoy their time with their families and everybody that they're going to be with, and that people could stay healthy and just enjoy one another. And God, most of all, that you'd be honored and glorified and lifted up as we come together and we celebrate you. So give us a good day once again. And God, it's my privilege to speak on behalf of everyone who might be listening through Facebook Live right now. When I tell you, God, we love you, and we thank you for the gift of salvation that we have through Jesus Christ. It's in Jesus' name we pray all these things. Amen. All right, guys. Y'all have a good one. Please, one more time, hit that share button. Share this out there. No newsletter this week, but 9 a.m. and 10:30 a.m. and Facebook Live on Sunday morning. We'll see you there. Take care. Bye-bye.